We are being lied to, our freedoms are being taken forever, and I will not be muzzled.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
And they want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it.
In the beginning, God formed man out of the earth and breathed his breath in him, and he became a living soul. Where do you derive the authority to regulate human breathing? What you say is the political dogma that they're trying to shove down our throats on every commercial, in every store, and it's disgusting.
Every single one of you that are obeying the devil's laws are going to be arrested. And you, doctor, are going to be arrested for crimes against humanity.
Let me ask you all, do you believe you're God? Do you believe you can override God's divine plan for our lives? You're removing our freedoms and stomping on our constitutional rights by these communist dictatorship orders or laws you want to mandate.
We will get together and do a citizen's arrest on every single human being that goes against the freedom of choice, okay? You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people. It literally is killing people. Every single one of you have a smirk behind that little mask, but every single one of you are going to get punished by God. You cannot escape God. You cannot escape God. I'm gonna say that again. You cannot escape God, not even with the mask or 6 feet. Okay? 6 feet, like I said before, is military protocol. You're trying to get the people to train them so when the cameras, the 5G comes out, what? They're gonna scan everybody. We gotta get scanned. We gotta get temperatured. The kids have to go to school with masks. Are you insane? Are you crazy? I think all of you should be in a psych ward right the heck now.
Much of our communication is nonverbal, which includes facial expressions, gestures displayed, and the physical distance between the communicators. How will young children be able to know who the dangerous deviants are, like pedophiles and people in the human sex trafficking?
You did not listen to we the people. I would die for that country. I would die for the Constitution. And you know what? You disgrace me. You know why? You did not listen to we the people. You made your decision.
I haven't worn a mask yet. I'm not wearing it today. Besides, despite what you guys do up here today, I'm not wearing one tomorrow. I was born free. I will stay free. My rights come from God, not from you. I'm not wearing it. You're going to have to hold me down and put it on me.
We are a nation of shared values of freedom, liberty, equality. We are home of the free, land of the brave. This is America, as someone else spoke. This is not Cuba. We are not in a communist nation.
And I say Trump 2020, and I hope every one of you gets voted out who votes for a mask here today. Shame on you for voting for a mask.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time has expired.
I also heard you say this is a democracy, and I'm sick and tired of hearing you say that. It's a republic.
America is not prepared, and nurses are not being protected. I quit my job today. I went into work and I was assigned to a COVID patient on an ICU unit that has been converted to a designated COVID unit. None of the nurses are wearing masks, not even surgical masks, in the hallways when they're giving report to each other. I had my own N95 mask. I told my manager, I understand we're short on supplies, but let me protect myself. Let me feel safe. I have family that I have to come home to, and the way things are looking, this isn't gonna get any better. America is not prepared, and nurses are not being protected.
I am very frustrated and I am very afraid. Not because I am faced with taking care of COVID positive patients, but because I go there unprepared, unprotected. Well, we do have masks that are available, but it's not the right mask that's needed to care for the patient. And we use gowns that are not up to the level of what we need in order to take care of them. And CDC had said a bandana or a scarf is good enough to protect us from the patients. And we know that's not right.
Did CDC really say that?
Yes. And that was, we were hoping that the CDC would be there to protect us, the frontline workers, and yet they failed to do that. And so we are really scared. We are really anxious because, it's like you wouldn't send a fireman to fight a fire with a squirt gun. And why are they doing it to the nurses?
Doing it the way we're doing it is much better. It's really much better.
Hey, so coronavirus is real. This police officer just put us out for wearing masks and trying to stay safe.
Todos como aventando. Empieza.
Okay, so where's the regulations that state that?
The regulations?
Yeah.
That is company
Because you're
policy.
discriminating against me now. Do you know that?
I do humbly apologize, but Nelson specifically is not allowing any customer or employee inside the store without a mask of some sort of kind.
Okay, so I need to talk to a manager
I
because...
will absolutely humbly go get a manager
Yeah.
for you if you'd like to hang out with me for
Awesome.
just a moment. If not, we can provide you with one.
I'm not wearing a mask.
Okay, understood. Allow me
Perfect.
just a moment and I'll
Go ahead.
I'll return.
Go ahead. Hi. Hi, I have a medical condition that I'm not allowed to wear a mask, and I'm not required by HIPAA rules and regulations to disclose that.
Okay, can we shop for you?
So, what does that look like? I have private things I want to get, but maybe I don't want you to
Shop
see.
for you, but I can't let you in the store without a mask.
Okay, so where's the regulations that state that?
The regulation?
Yeah.
That is company
Because you're
policy.
discriminating against me now. Do you know that?
I'm
You're
offering
discriminating
you
against
that
me.
we can help you.
No, because I have private stuff that I don't want you to see.
Then you can call corporate office, but I can't help you.
Okay, well you guys can get a lawsuit because you can't discriminate.
I'm trying to help you, but I'm
No,
not
you
gonna
can't. How's that helping when you're gonna do shopping for me? I'm gonna give you my bank information.
doing the best I
How
can
do
with
how do I do the transaction?
Transactions will do for you.
No, I'm gonna give you my credit card, my private credit card, for you to go and take and pay with my.
I'm trying to help you. Best
How's
we
that
can.
helping me?
Miss, call corporate office. I'm sorry.
Okay, I need a card. Do you have a card for them?
I sure can.
That'd be great. This is. I'm at Dana Point, Gelson's. So if anybody wants to shop here, you have to have a mask. And here is the policies, which state that they will shop for me, take my money, my private credit card, and utilize that. I'm going to just let them go do that. So no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. But you're pretty chipper. You're pretty chipper. Huh? You're happy?
Why not be?
Why are you happy?
Normally I'm a bartender and I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a job.
Well, good. I mean, I'm glad you guys think it's okay to like infringe on people's rights here. You're infringing on people's rights.
Well, realistically, my dear, there is no way my card is
Sorry?
I'm sorry I can't help you. But that's the number to our corporate office.
Okay, what's your name?
Okay, my name is Ben.
Ben? Okay, Ben.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Ben.
We are being lied to, our freedoms are being taken forever, and I will not be muzzled like a mad dog.
Honor your oath and stop being a bunch of tyrants.
You go along with the lies that are the people who are trying to take down our freedoms and destroy our country. This is sick.
I have the ability to do what I want, when I want, how I want.
I've been raised on the farm. I spent many years in Haiti as well. I like to think I'm pretty well inoculated from a lot of viruses.
And I'm not giving up any more of my rights. And as long as I can remember, we're still a free country. And I go with my freedom all the time.
You want to start mandating people to wear stuff? Trust me. These guys probably already know who I am because I walk around here with an AR-15. All right? I will audit you day in and day out. I see any of you without a mask on, I will personally call the police on you just so that you get that fine.
If we stand back and let these pieces of crap handle our freedoms, we will have nothing left. In fact, we'll end up being dead.
In my opinion, it's all agenda driven. And I'm not going to wear a mask.
And I will not have my health destroyed because you idiots can't read truth.
I heard earlier that this wasn't political. It's funny how it came right in the middle of an election year.
While we did have a slight uptick, it does not in any way necessitate such draconian measures like mask wearing.
This is our country, not your country.
Those that are pushing other people to wear a mask, I'm going to perceive you wearing a mask as like a baby with a blanket or your pacifier or your teddy bear. If that's what makes you comfortable, then by all means do it. Don't push your ideology over onto me as an employer or onto employees or onto the citizens. Let the people use their own intelligence.
But the rest of them? Yeah, tell them, Oceana. That's all we hear is blah, 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 blah. That's all I'm hearing from all these people.
frustrating to see how incredibly selfish some are during this time. I am appalled and disgusted that some can believe a minor inconvenience of wearing a mask outweighs the risk of infecting someone with this virus. It is absolutely one's own right with how they treat their own body. However, you no longer may claim my body, my choice when it comes to affecting others by spreading this virus. And I will end saying I would wear a mask indefinitely if necessary to protect myself and all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm sitting here on a Friday night enjoying my ice cold beer, and what do I see come across my Fox News? The CDC wants you and me and God and everybody else to wear a face mask, and that just pisses me off. Making me and everybody take precautions to protect ourselves. What am I supposed to do now that all the masks are gone, huh? You want me to make one out of a towel or a t-shirt? You want me to wear my kids' Halloween mask down to the Walmart so I can drop kick somebody in the toilet paper aisle? I don't think so. You want me to wear my wife Brenda's underwear on my face so I can look like some kind of Victoria's Secret Bane? I don't think so. And my president, still your president, Donald J. Trump, he said he ain't going to wear a mask. And that's good enough for me. He ain't going to wear a mask. That reminds me of the time he looked up at that eclipse without them special glasses, because he ain't going to make the sun make him look like a beta male cuck. If he ain't going to do it, I ain't going to do it, because me and Donald J. Trump, we're the last of a dying breed. We're cut from the same Confederate cloth. We're tough guys. We're just like John Wayne, and this great value flu knows better than to be f***ing with a tough guy. I ain't going to do it. My wife and my kids can wear a mask, but I ain't going to do it. What's the worst that can happen? I get them sick? I'm not going to be ruled by fear. I'm not going to be ruled by common sense precautions to help me and everybody else stay healthy. I'm still going outside without a mask. And I'm still going to Hobby Lobby to get that felt and that glitter I've been needing to finish a project. And I'm still going to church on Sunday. I'm going to online church. And I'll be in there, the first pew, front and center, dressed in my Sunday best from the waist up, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. So tonight, I'm raising my emotional support beer to this guy right here, Donald J. Trump, and as always, f*** the NFL and go Coats.
So with the masks, it's going to be really a voluntary thing. You can do it. You don't have to do it. I'm choosing not to do it, but some people may want to do it, and that's okay. It may be good. Probably will. They're making a recommendation. It's only a recommendation. It's voluntary.
What would people gain from wearing a mask, and why are you opposed to wearing one yourself?
Well, I just don't want to wear one myself. It's a recommendation. They recommend it. I'm feeling good. I just don't want to be doing, I don't know, somehow sitting in the Oval Office behind that beautiful Resolute desk, the great Resolute desk. I think wearing a face mask as I greet presidents, prime ministers, dictators, kings, queens, I don't know, somehow I don't see it for myself. I just maybe I'll change my mind, but this will pass, and hopefully it'll pass very quickly.
Racial profiling has to stop, Mr. Speaker. Just because someone wears a hoodie does not make them a hoodlum. The Bible teaches us, Mr. Speaker, in the book of Micah 6:6-8,
the member will suspend.
These words,
the member will
these words, he has shown you, O man,
the member will
what is
suspend.
good,
The chair must remind members of
what does the Lord require of you, but to do
Members
justly,
out of order.
and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. And in the New Testament, Luke 4:18-20, teaches us these words. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me.
The chair will ask the Sergeant at Arms to enforce the prohibition on decor. The chair must remind members that Clause 5 of Rule 17 prohibits the wearing of hats in the chamber when the House is in session. The chair finds that the donning of a hood is not consistent with this rule. Members need to remove their hoods or leave the floor.
Members of Congress are human petri dishes. We fly through the dirtiest airports. We touch everyone we meet. So if anyone's going to get coronavirus, it's probably going to be Congress.
So you think is the handshaking? Is that off? You're not doing that anymore, or what?
We shake hands. We kiss babies. We touch everybody's cell phone when we take a selfie with them. So we should be ready.
Where did you get the mask from? I gotta ask.
I gotta keep that confidential.
Y'all are sitting there breathing freely, building your immune systems without masks. How disgusting, how shameful, how criminal, how corrupt. This is a hoax. It's a fraud. There's nobody dying in excess of any other year in the last decade. Are you aware of that? Stop listening to absolute charlatan doctors like this Dr. Chow, who I wouldn't go...
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
You're telling me that I have to breathe in CO2 when God gave this body the ability to extract that from my body, and now you want me to put it back in my body. I have natural rights as a sovereign citizen of the United States.
Your time is up.
You are kneeling on the necks of the people, and you are continuing to act in a thuggish manner.
People are now able to commit crimes while fully shielding their faces from sight.
I begin with the question, are you smarter than a fifth grader? I remember teaching my own fifth graders about the respiratory system. These 10-year-olds understood the most basic important element needed by the human body is oxygen. So I ask you, why in the name of science and health would you require people, especially children, to wear a mask only to rebreathe the waste product the body wants to get rid of?
Making our children wear masks is contrary to the medical experts, and it's fundamentally wrong. They need to be exposed to bacteria in the air, playing on jungle gyms. Kids need sunlight, exercise, interaction, youth sports, and prayer without masks. If you deny them that, in 20 years you're going to have a population of immunosuppressed, antisocial adults who can only interact via Zoom and FaceTime and need gloves to shake your hand.
I have been discriminated 5 times in the last 2 days. I have been actually turned away. I cannot go in these businesses without a mask, even though I have a health condition.
These children need to be back on the field, not in 2 weeks, now. As you can see, Taylor's got a soccer uniform on, and we're still not playing soccer.
Guys, it's over. Like, really? Like, you know? I mean, are we still talking about this? Like, it's over, you know, this lockdown. I mean, you're looking at numbers and data, and, you know, I go to a resort, nobody's wearing a mask. Then I come here, everybody's wearing a mask. I go to a protest, nobody's wearing a mask.
Thank you. Your time is up.
He went and fought where, Dad? Where did you fight?
What's that?
Where did you fight?
In the Philippine Islands in World War II.
And his fight was for your freedom, my freedom, his freedom, and everybody that's here today.
I don't know if you guys are robots or whatnot. So please stop imposing Chinese communism tactics. This is America. We need our essential bread. If you're not human, please please join Elon Musk on his trip to Mars. And vote for our breath. Please let us breathe.
Don't be divided. We don't need two wars. We have one against the virus. I think it's an image thing, and I think part of it, people still think, oh, you know, it's a bit of a retreat, or I want to express my freedoms or my independence, and I think they're just looking at it the wrong way. It should be a badge of honor right now about us uniting. Everyone do it. I'm protecting you. You protect me. If we protect ourselves, we protect each other the best way possible while we let science catch up. The mask is about letting science catch up. You know, it's been about help protect the people on the front line. Don't let happen what happened in New York where there's 2 patients for every bed. We've got to buy time. A mask is a very good tool for that. And I have not heard any science that says it's not. So I don't even understand how there's a real argument right now about the wearing of a mask or not, especially when you can spread asymptomatic symptoms and not even know it. You know, let's all of us together. We were united in the purpose. We are still united in the purpose to beat this virus. You felt it. We all felt it, especially in the last month. This little divide started to happen. And all of a sudden, the narrative became, well, if you want to go to work, you must be on the far right. If you want to stay at home, you must be on the far left. That created a false divide. That is not true. So that created 2 wars for us to be in. We have one against the virus, which is the one we're supposed to be in. The virus who doesn't give a damn who you voted for or who you're going to vote for. And it created the other war between us. And right now, we're not going to beat this thing. We're not going to let science catch up. We're not going to beat this virus the way that we can if we're fighting each other. We don't have room for 2 wars right now. And I know it's an election year. But both parties, both sides could be more responsible with how they've used this virus for their own partisan political advantage.
Bounty hunter Bobby Bandito, but you can call me Bobby B. I say it's high time we catch this killer, because we got more living to do. Here's how. So you lay down your favorite bandana, unfold it like so. Get your trusty coffee filter that you had on the go. Get your 2 rubber bands. Roll one down one end like this. Roll the other one down this end like that. Fold them over like so. Grab a hold, and you're good to go. Now remember, stay at home. But if you gotta go, strap it on like so.
And right now, we're not gonna beat this thing. We're not gonna let science catch up. We're not gonna beat this virus the way that we can if we're fighting each other. We don't have room for 2 wars right now. And I know it's an election year. But both parties, both sides could be more responsible with how they've used this virus for their own partisan political advantage.
CDC, well, this is my face covering. My name is Deborah Baber, and I am a proud Trump Republican. Unbeknownst to me, a wannabe bully, a bad person, a whiny baby, posted on social media the remarks I made here last week. Let liberty ring! God bless America. That evening, I learned from a friend who texted me that I had gone viral with over 1 million views. The last time I looked, I had over 2 million views. I even debuted on Jimmy Kimmel. Trump Republican, yearning to be free again.
She's yearning. She's yearning to be free again, to go to Margaritaville.
I got a lot of traction out of doing my civic duty, my exercising my free speech. We are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Some goon also posted my personal information on social media, and that of my stepdaughter, who is a retired police officer. I have received ugly, foul, threatening remarks ever since. Vile. Well, these fools, they also did the same thing. Why did they do this? They did this because they don't have any facts. They have to attack me personally. They have to threaten me personally. They have to threaten my family personally because they've got nothing. Nada. Zero. They can't attack the message. What was my message? My message was this. It is not normal for people to cover their faces. It is an act of submission, subjugation, of slavery, of shame. Only women in Islamic countries cover their faces with burqas. The men do not. Antifa thugs cover their faces. Patriots do not. Guidance on face covering is all over the map. Maybe a face covering, maybe not a face covering. Yes, a face covering. No, a face covering. CDC, well, this is my face covering. No to masks. In this pandemic, the only thing about masks is that one size does not fit all. There is no excuse for the behavior of you or the inaction. Stop this ridiculous charade. Don't remain the weak-kneed, indulgent parents that you are right now, trying to force grown-ups to play peekaboo. Shame on you. That would do what they did to me. They are vile, spoiled, rotten, bad seeds. And if you don't do something about it, the bad seed then is also in you.
Thank you for your
Deborah
comments.
Baber, proud.
Next up.
A mask isn't perfect. A seatbelt isn't perfect. We have to figure out how to make things work in our lives to protect ourselves when nothing is perfect. So one of the big misnomers that we get involved with in this mask world or washing your hands world or whatever is people ask the question in perfection terms. Is it possible that I could possibly get infected if I was wearing, this kind of mask? Anything is possible. But the question is, how do you reduce the risk? So imagine that your nose reduces the likelihood of a virus getting to your throat by about, let's say, 80%, just for round numbers. And that a mask reduces the likelihood of a virus getting to your nose by, let's say, 80%. And that staying 6 feet away reduces the likelihood of a virus getting to your mask by, let's say, 80%. Now, all combined, you're in the high 99s by putting those three things together. Any two of them together would get you 96% safe. And any one of them would be 80%. So adding things together makes you more and more safe. What does a mask do? If you think about viruses are always dying. Viruses aren't bacteria. Bacteria are always trying to grow. A virus does not grow outside of a body. So the first way to get infected is by touching your face. Even surgeons touch their faces all the time. Everybody does. It's it's humankind. But if the mask is there, you keep that infection from happening. Whether it's a crummy mask or a great mask, it doesn't matter. It works. The second way of getting infected is with a droplet of water that's teeming with viruses. A droplet of water might have 1 million copies of a virus in it. And that droplet gets into your nose and you've got 1 million copies in your nose, right? If that droplet hits your mask, even a crummy mask, it stops on the outer layer almost always. And therefore, it doesn't get to being the problem. By the time that droplet dries out completely and we just have virus particles, tiny little particles, they're mostly dead because virus particles don't live very well without moisture, right? And therefore, if they did come through the mask, there are one, lot less of them, and two, they're not likely to be infectious anymore by the time they get to you. Now, one of the key components of figuring out how to behave in this whole new world is figuring out where you can be safe and where you're not. If you're a doctor and you're going into the operating room, you behave differently when you're all suited up and scrubbed up than when you're out of the operating room, right? So we need to do that same sort of idea when we're going from our safe house or car out into a shopping center or, for a walk on a crowded street. Don't do anything special when you're in your safe zone. But when you're not in your safe zone, that's when you pay attention to how to not get infected. I actually brought some demos because, you like demos. A lot of people talk about masks as being a problem. Let me just show you a couple of different ideas. Everybody complains about bandanas. Bandanas are just a piece of cloth. Maybe it's an old shirt You cut into a square, you cut the square into a thing, you fold it into a triangle, and put it on. These things are really good. You'll go to the press and on the internet and find that you could, if you put a little cannon full of little particles the size of virus particles, you can blow them right through a 4-layer bandana. And that's true. Does that mean a 4-layer bandana wouldn't help you resist getting infected? No, it's very good. An old shirt. I've got a 90-something-year-old mother who made one out of a pair of underwear, but a towel wrapped around a couple times is perfectly good as well. You don't need to go buy, the world's best stuff to have really great protection. This is a N95 mask. You can see it's bigger, and it's got more fuzz around the edges than the sort of thing you might get in a hardware store to protect you from paint. This one is called N95 because it's 95% effective at stopping particles of a certain size. Notice the name says it's not perfect, right? And it shouldn't be perfect. N95s are particularly good at not letting air float around the edges, and the air breathes in nicely. The kind you use for paint aren't quite as good at that, but we wear these all the time in my family. They're cheap, they're easy to come by, they work fine. But a lot of people in my family got involved in making homemade masks, and they start out with this kind, with a seam down the middle, and the inside 2 layers at least, and 4 little strings coming out. Different people have different colors, and they start to look good. And I'm pretty sure we're all going to get the fashion of masks kind of working in our favor. This is my wife's favorite mask now. It's got a sort of a dangly string there, and the idea is you put it over your head this way. Oops, not that way. The idea is that it's got an inside and an outside, and if you there we go. If you put it over your head like that, and then you can pull it on and tie it, it's a little easier to put on and off. It also lets you just wear it walking around. And when you're outside and nobody in sight, but all of a sudden a crowd of people are coming by, you could put your mask on and make it easy, because completely outside is a pretty safe place to be with no people in sight. But if you're on a city corner with a whole crowd of folks, that's not a particularly good place to be. So you could use your mask in that way.
I wore one in this back area, but I didn't want to give the press the pleasure of seeing it.
Is the president no longer welcome in Michigan?
Well, I will say, speaking on behalf of my department and my office, that's right. That's exactly right. If he fails to wear a mask, he's going to be asked not to return to any enclosed facilities inside our state. We're going to have to take action against any company or any facility that allows him inside those facilities and puts our workers at risk. We just simply can't afford it here in our state. If President Trump doesn't care about his own health, doesn't care about the health and the safety of people who work in those facilities, at least care about the economic situation of, costing these facilities so much money by having to close down and disinfect the plant after he leaves. Today's events were extremely disappointing and yet totally predictable. The president is like a petulant child who refuses to follow the rules. And I have to say, this is no joke. I mean, 93,000 people have died in the United States. This is not a joke. And he's conveying the worst possible message to people who cannot afford to be on the receiving end of terrible misinformation. And it's very, very concerning.
What is your take on the politics of his mask reluctance?
I'm not sure what to make of it. The Ford executives were all wearing masks. Every one of the workers in the facility are wearing masks. This is a place that it's really important to get it right, and so that the workers can have confidence that they're safe. This is a city, a metropolitan area that has been hit hard by COVID-19, and that's why it's so important that everyone takes this seriously, and I would appreciate it if everyone with a platform lived the values we're trying to get everyone else to follow.
It's a terrible message to send. It's incredibly disappointing and is very disrespectful to the people of our state.
I am not a sex slave that wears masks. Are you going to be wearing masks when you come in? Are you going to obey that city? And if not, then how in the world are you expecting any of us to obey anything that you say? I protest face coverings. I am a healthy American. I used to be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks. I am not into sadomasochism and bondage. I am not a burglar. I am not a pandering politician like we see here, and here, and here, and here. I am a proud Trump Republican, yearning to be free again. Who are you, victim or victor? If you are offended by anything I have said, by the masses of people, then I am offended by the masses of people who do not question your wholesale slaughter of our constitutional and inalienable rights. Shame on all of you. Let liberty ring. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the oceans to the prairies to the mountains, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Let liberty ring!
Thank you for your comments.
And it's Baber, Deborah Baber.
Thank you very much.
You should know better. am a proud Trump Republican, yearning to be free again. Who are you? Victim or victor?
I started out by finding a website online that had this easy template to use, reworked it to fit how I knew how to sew. So I came up with a mask that has elastic for the earpieces. And then it also has a pipe cleaner at the top to kind of form around your nose. I feel like that's important. That was a big issue with some of the masks. They're not fitted to each person, and so it was making gaps in the masks, allowing secretions and different things to still be able to enter past the mask. So I wanted to make sure it was a tight fit, so I found that pipe cleaners worked really well. They're very adjustable and they're soft. They're not like this hard wire that will poke you. I made a pocket inside between the two pieces of fabric. The fabric is 100% cotton and it has two panels, but it also has an opening so that you can add an extra filter of choice. I grew up in a house that, we didn't have a huge income. And so we had to be kind of resourceful and creative with things that we needed. We would just repurpose other things to make it work. I started out just working a couple hours a day. I started March 20th. It was going very slow. It was taking me 30 to 45 minutes to make one mask. And so I finally figured out this good method of making masks in 10 minutes. And so now I've been able to kind of ramp up production. Now I'm working 12 to 15 hours a day trying to fulfill these orders just because there's so many people still reaching out. I have been staying up until 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get as much done as I can. I don't plan on slowing down anytime soon. As long as there's a need, I'm going to work hard to try and fulfill them. So far, I've received orders from New York City and Washington, D.C. and California and Arizona. I mean, literally all over the U.S. of people that I've never met before. And I don't know their stories. I don't know why they need them. I'm assuming it's for medical professionals, but I'm also realizing that there's a shortage everywhere of people who need them. And the N95 masks are all being donated to hospitals. So there's other places that still need them and other people who are still essential that are working. It's not even just been medical professionals anymore that are reaching out. It's everybody. When I first found out that there was a shortage of PPEs and N95 masks specifically, I was upset and angry and felt helpless. And, I kind of went to this place of maybe I can't make a huge impact, but I can do something small and I can help the people around me and I can help people, friends and family and people that I know. So instead of just sitting in my house angry at the government or angry at, the leadership above us, I decided to try and do something to change it and focus that energy and that frustration into something that could help other people. I'm fortunate to know how to sew, and that was the need right now, is people who can sew and who can make masks. Instead of being upset and angry, I decided to channel that energy into making masks and distributing them to people. Everybody has abilities to do things to help in different ways, and I'm very thankful that I was able to fulfill a need in this way, even if just a small need. If everybody steps up and does one small thing to make a difference, all of those things will eventually come together and make one big difference, even if it's not directly affecting people by making masks or working in a hospital to take care of patients that are ill. Whatever you can do, support your local business, stay at home if that's all you can do to prevent other people from getting sick. Help your neighbor if you have somebody that's elderly or immunocompromised, go pick up their groceries for them and do whatever you can to try and make a difference, even if just a little one.
We have an important message for all of you, especially if you live in a country that is right now facing the new coronavirus. The pandemic is growing exponentially in many countries, but the Czech Republic is one of the few in Europe that has significantly slowed down the spread of the virus. In this video, we would like to tell you what we did differently, and mainly, we would like to help you to do the same. We are following social distancing and the rules stay at home. But others do that too. We also have strict hygienic procedures. Others do that as well. But the main difference is everyone who has to leave their house has to wear a face mask. Everyone.
I know. They may be told you that masks wouldn't protect you, but there are studies proving that even a homemade mask can be partially protective. Partially. Any protection is essential today. But now the more important thing. Masks fundamentally prevent the transmission from you to others by sneezing, coughing, but also breathing. And many people are the most contagious before they start showing symptoms. So, when we both have a face mask, I protect you, you protect me, and we are both safe.
Based on recent data, we know that population-wide use of masks is essential for suppression of the outbreak.
According to our professional experience, a simple homemade mask can prevent up to 100% of the spread of potentially infected microdroplets.
The more people use masks, the less virus can be distributed and fewer individuals are exposed.
Just a few days ago, people were laughing at those who wore masks. But some people knew about this positive effect and started to share this information across social media. The message grew fast through artists, influencers, and others. I know, face masks aren't in stores, right? But something incredible happened. People started making homemade masks and giving them to others for free. Many companies, theaters, or even retirement houses changed their buildings into sewing rooms, and thousands of people started to sew masks at home. So we know that face masks work, and it has been repeatedly confirmed by scientists. We know that it is possible in just 3 days to provide face masks for 10 million people in one country. And we know that here we have fundamentally repressed the infection. Please share this knowledge and help us to change as many countries as possible. Take a picture with your face mask on and share it with the hashtag #MasksForAll. It can really save lives. And remember, I protect you, you protect me.
They're going to be coming out with regulations on that, and if people want to abide by them, frankly, I don't think they'll be mandatory because some people don't want to do that. But if people wanted, as an example on the masks, if people wanted to wear them, they can. If people wanted to use scarves, which they have, many people have them, they can. In many cases, the scarf is better. It's thicker. I mean, you can, depending on the material, it's thicker. A recommendation's coming out. We'll see what that recommendation is. But I will say this, they can pretty much decide for themselves right now.
Like you're saying, do as we say, not as we do. You're telling people to listen to local officials, but in Tulsa you defied local health officials to have an event that, even though you say it didn't result in a spike, dozens of Secret Service agents, dozens of campaign staffers are now quarantined after positive tests. And then in Arizona, one of the hardest hit states, you packed a church with young people who weren't wearing masks. So how can you say that the campaign is not part of the problem that Dr. Fauci laid out?
Well, I want to remind you again that the freedom of speech and the right to peaceably assemble is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. And even in a health crisis, the American people don't forfeit our constitutional rights. And working with state officials, as we did in Oklahoma and as we did in Arizona, we're creating settings where people can choose to participate in the political process. And we'll continue to do that.
Social distancing and also the threat of crowds, yet your campaign has held 2 massive rallies, no social distancing, no masks. Can you tell me, even Dr. Fauci has talked about not gathering in large crowds. Can you tell me why you continue to do this, why the campaign continues to hold these rallies?
Well, the freedom of speech, the right to peaceably assemble is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. And we have an election coming up this fall. And President Trump and I believe that taking proper steps, as we've created screening at recent events and giving people the very best counsel that we have, we still want to give people the freedom to participate in the political process. And we respect that.
When you're in a large crowd, if you have the congregation of people that are much close to each other, you definitely increase the risk that you will either acquire or spread infections. And I've said there are some people that are going to do that anyway, no matter what I say. But the issue is, if they do, please wear a mask all the time, because a mask will give you some protection. The best thing to do is to avoid crowded areas. But if you're not going to do that, please wear a mask.
As you probably have heard, and we're getting exact numbers out, but we're either close to or over 1 million people wanting to go.
Wearing a mask. It hurts. It's difficult to breathe. Not to mention the humidity stuck to your face for a whole day. I wear a mask because it is my duty. I wear a mask because I care. I wear a mask because I don't want my family to get sick. I don't want my neighbor to get sick. I wear a mask because it is my right to be compassionate, to be responsible. I wear a mask for you. I wear a mask for my beloved friend who was just diagnosed with breast cancer. Wear a mask.